Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, Chainbreakers. It is Thursday, August the 29th, 2019, and this is going to be a fantastic day because that's the day I choose for it to be. Good morning, and welcome to today's edition of Chainbreakers 365 Live. Hi, I'm Brad Smith. I am your host for Chainbreakers 365 and the creator of hashtag Uplift and Rise. And I want to welcome you here today. This is going to be the continuation of a series we started yesterday on human needs. So, some basic human needs that every person has. So come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome. I enjoy having this place filled up, and there is always room for more. So we are here every Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time live, and we come on again later through replay, so you can always see us there as well. Good morning, Tom. Glad to have you here this morning. So yesterday we were talking about some of the very basic human needs in both security and adventure. And I think I may have even called it a few different things. Security can also be certainty, consistency, those kinds of things. But adventure can also be excitement. It's those adrenaline rushes, those things that really get our blood pumping and going. So those are some of the very basic human needs. A couple of the next two, if you think of this as kind of layered a little bit, the next two in there are significance and both connection and love. Connection and love are kind of connected there together. Connected in connection, kind of connected there together. So a lot of us really have this basic need for significance, for being important, for being able to stand out. That's some of the things that drive athletes to be at the top of their game, for people to go for higher and higher and higher levels of education, for sometimes significance can be the leader in an industry or a certain um, a business realm, if as it were, a certain type of retail environment. Maybe it's working and being just the best in the job that you have, right? So significance can mean a lot of different things. It's what makes you different. It's what makes you stand out. It's what makes you important. Morning, Jeremy George. Glad to have you here this morning. So significance, though, can continue to push you to higher and higher and higher levels, especially when we're talking about success. But significance can also have a negative connotation to it as well, or can be fulfilled from a negative standpoint. So you can either choose to be to build the biggest skyscrapers in the world, or you can have the skyscraper but else is down. So significance can kind of come from a couple different ways. Um, and if you think of those same things in human needs, we can also make ourselves feel more significant or more important by tearing other people down as well. So significance can have both positive and negative sides to that. The other part of that is in where again the paradox comes in, much like the paradox of the basic human needs of security and yet the basic need for adventure or excitement and enthusiasm, right? So while those tend to be a paradox to each other, so does significance and love or connection, because when we stand out so far ahead of a lot of things in the world, right? We make ourselves feel separate and with that significant. That separation also is the complete paradox to love and connection, because at some point we can reach a level of significance that now we start looking at others as needing something from us. Good morning, Leanne Ryan-Smith. Glad to have you here today. So having that level of significance can pull us away from those that we really are in connection with, that we really love. because that connection can gets pulled away in the fact that sometimes that significance can put us in a position that we think everybody is just trying to get something from us, and it's difficult to really know and understand who is really trying to connect with us and who's trying to connect with what we can do for them, right? So that all comes into connection as well. But in love and connection, obviously we have some very basic needs for love and connection or relationships, right? And sometimes those can cross over into that level of security. So the level of security sometimes is knowing that we have that level of security, right? Or that certainty in our relationships, because when those connections or that love relationship, if we feel threatened, if we feel like we're going to lose that relationship, it can feel like everything is out of order because that very basic human need for security has been shattered, or is maybe we feel like it's on edge, and then we start grasping for ways to be able to hold on to it. So in that love and that connection, in that significance can also feel in the level in excitement, right? But we keep reaching for higher and higher and higher levels, much the way we keep looking for greater and greater levels of excitement, right? Or adventure in our lives. Those can also be a little bit of a paradox as well. But the very top of that pyramid, or the very highest levels, and we really kind of only see these when all those other needs are met. So when you've got certainty and security, when you've got that level of excitement and enthusiasm, when you've got that significance in your life, and when you feel confident in your love and connection, right? That's when you start moving into these last two human needs, and those are the human needs for both growth and a contribution beyond ourselves. That's where we really find those very highest level of human needs. So growth can many times come in education, right? It can come in physical fitness, right, and physical conditioning. But the growth is typically something that's very personal. That's not the way the significance is in being leaders of our industry or business. Growth is more personal growth, right? It's who we've really become. Now, it can become in line with uh, significance when we're talking about physical fitness, or being the best athlete, right? Or being a better public speaker, or maybe becoming better educated. Those can fulfill those same levels of growth. But growth can also be when we understand that even though we've graduated school, we never really quit learning. And maybe being parts of videos like these are what contributes to that personal level of growth that helps elevate you to a position where you can really get to understand greater things and be able to accomplish and do greater things as well. But we truly lead and come into that last level of basic human needs when we are now contributing to something greater than ourselves. Now, maybe like what it can be for is, say, a mother and father who are pouring everything into their children. But we now see that need being shattered when the children grow up and move on out of the house, and we no longer have that uh, that contributing outside ourselves because the children aren't there anymore. And if we don't find ways to be able to continue to fulfill that need, then we start looking for other things to replace it. And sometimes those can be as negative, can be negatively fulfilled as well as positively fulfilled. That's why frequently you'll see marriages end up being shattered and feeling like they don't know how to talk to each other because they really poured everything into their children. Their growth beyond to something beyond themselves was in their children, and now where the children are gone, you don't know how to pour into each other. So it's always important to really understand what our needs are, because they will quickly explain to us what it is that we're actually searching for. Now, maybe those can be fulfilled at work, right? So maybe we're part of an organization, and being able to mentor and help somebody else along is the very same thing that we can get in that connection or that growth, right? Or contributing to something beyond ourselves. That's where we can find that real significance in there. Now, remember, there's positive and negative ways to fulfill them, right? There, we can frequently get into alcohol and drugs and tobacco and those kinds of things because we're trying to change our state. We don't like the level of where our lives are right now, so we're looking for something we know we can count on, right? We know that we can feel better through participating in some of these things that can become addictions, right? That we can get that excitement, we can get that thrill through gambling, right? But what so those can be really negative kinds of things, but we can also feel that that significance, but also that that security, but also that level of connection, sometimes in our faith. So always know what it is and where that need is lacking for you, because that's where you'll be looking to try to fulfill. And there's obviously much better influences on our life, like faith, that can help fulfill the same need that alcohol can do or that drugs can do. So know what those needs are, because it's those very same needs that we're trying to fulfill that can be fulfilled both positively and negatively, and we want to always make positive choices. The same time, we can see that in our children, we can see that in our spouse, we can see that in our relationships or significant others. So many times, understanding what it is those people are looking for when something has been removed, we can understand how to reach out and necessarily fulfill it in the other person before they make negative choices, right? Uh, Trying to look for something together to fulfill that need of connection together with a husband and spouse. And maybe it's by taking that time to pour into your marriage. That's where that level of significance can really come across, right? So it's important to not only fulfill that within yourself, but we fulfill that within our relationships at home. Another thing, as a manager, we can also see that in our new hires, right? So I know that within the car business, that's where I've spent by far the majority of my career. There is always while you can have some very significant long-term employees, there's always that 10-20% that turn very, very, very rapidly, right? So what's frequently coming in is the person would end up joining you in the car business because they want that need for excitement, they want that need for growth, they want that need for more income, right? They're trying to fulfill that. But if they don't get that immediate, that positive result, they can feel like they're losing that sense of security, and that's why we have that frequent turnover. So many times helping to pour into them in the ways that they can help maintain that security, and also helping them feel significant, right? In letting them and encouraging them and empowering them and letting them know how much they're valued, they're connected to you as a manager, they're connected into your organization, can help provide that security for them to where they continue that long-term employment and therefore continue to now reach out and grow, right? So it's understanding too where our newest hires, our newest employees need that fulfillment, so that we're not having that constant churn. And I think we can see that in a lot of employment situations. It's not always in sales. If we think about it, we've seen many times the studies come across that most people don't lose jobs because of a few dollars. They lose it because usually of their managers, because there's something they're not getting from their management, right? So people need to feel significant, right? They need to feel like they matter being part of that organization, but they need to fulfill that that growth. They need to feel like they are empowered. They need to feel that excitement and enthusiasm, and you do that sometimes by letting people know how much they mean to you, how much they value your contribution, how much they are appreciated as being part. So don't forget those positive reinforcements, because those positive reinforcements are help what but bind and keep that connection for you in those relationships at work. Many times as a new employee, you'll also find that pouring into your boss and letting them know how much you value that contribution from them to you is another way that you'll continue to receive that contribution moving forward, because they now know that they're valuable to you and you've made them feel valuable, so they want to continue to pour into you. I want to thank you for being here this morning. I hope you found this useful. I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard. So if you have, by all means, reach down, hit that share button, reach down and let them know, right? I guess it's right here, right there. Reach down and hit that share button. Share that's on out. Share this to your family, your friends, your coworkers. And if they're not on Facebook, let them know that you can see and find these same videos at Chainbreakers 365 on YouTube. So you can go and find us there as well. So also you can go to chainbreakers365.com and you can find the videos there on one of the pages. So thank you so much for being here today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And I will, by the way, be having another one of these videos on Chainbreakers 365 live on Monday, even though it's Labor Day. So thank you so much for being here this morning. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for tomorrow's edition of Chainbreakers 365 Live. Thanks so much for being here. Have an awesome day. Bye now.